Hi, this is a video basically on how to clean up your wiring harnesses on the cheap. We've all got, if you're like me, a lot of nasty old wiring harnesses. Obviously, these would be more effective if they were actually still in the car, but for the ease of display or the ease of teaching you, I just figured I would grab some random ones I've got lying around here and just kind of go through the process of what I do to clean them up, and not just for vanity's sake. I mean, they do look a heck of a lot nicer when I'm done, but also just in the interest of longevity. So I try to clean them up and recondition them, and I'll try and walk you through it. I'll be doing this with the help of my lovely hairy assistant. But anyways, get back to it here. What I use, I kind of laid out two choices here. There's one option I saw online, which is a nice one, which is actually probably the better method from what I've seen. At least in terms of cleaning up the wiring and cleaning up the wiring itself. Anyhow, apparently what you can do is you can get like 2 containers and make a solution out of sea salt. Well, not sea salt, out of salt. Sorry folks, I'm fumbling through this. Make a solution out of salt and vinegar. I didn't have any white vinegar. I'm using balsamic vinaigrette or vinegar, but I would assume it's just as good, because all you're really doing is you're looking for the acidity. Then you're going to mix that in one bottle, and then in another bottle you're going to have some baking soda. And what these will be used for is, once the wires are actually separated from the harness itself, that you will have something you can clean them with. And when you put them in the initial solution of salt and vinegar, and swish them around, that will clean up all the contacts, and it will get rid of any oxidation on the metal, apparently. The thing is, though, since it is an acidic solution, as soon as you're done cleaning it in that bottle, you're going to want to put it into the baking soda solution to neutralize all the acid. And then you can go from there. I also, in order to clean up the actual plastic parts of the contacts, or the plastic part of the harness, I should say, I've used some auto degreaser. This is some good stuff I got from Dollar Tree. Can't beat it. I've found a million uses for it, but I'm pretty sure that any kind of standard degreaser, even dish soap would do the trick. I mean, you're just cleaning plastic, so you don't really need any or want anything too heavy duty. You don't want to use any solvents or anything like that. So, and this will be for when I'm putting it all back together, and we will get into that. In the meantime, good old Dollar Tree toothbrush. You get a couple of them for $1. Can't beat that. And also, I got an assortment of these. And you know, you can buy these pretty cheap just about anywhere. There's usually a set of 4 of them, and you only need one. This is the one I use. But essentially, you just need any type of tool that's going to be, you know, pretty strong. Small in circumference. You just need that kind of point. Basically, you need anything like even a paper clip, or pretty much anything you can find, even a nail possibly. You just need to find something that's rigid and is the right isn't too thick, because you're going to need that to actually pop the wires out of the plastic harness piece here. Unfortunately, I don't have 3 hands, so the rest of this, or a fair chunk of the rest of this article, will actually be just done using pictures. But I'll walk you through the process, and I just wanted to do kind of a video, or stumble through a video, just to kind of give a much broader idea of what I was doing, and you know, save you a little reading. I tend to blab on, as you can tell, so this will hopefully summarize a good portion of what I'm trying to show. Anyhow, back to work. When you've gotten to the stage where you're ready to actually take the wires out, before you do anything, really good thing not to forget here, is you want to actually obviously keep track of where the wires went. Simple drawing will usually suffice. You can see my masterful artwork here, but it will give me a guide when I want to put it back together. So long as it does the trick, that's all that matters. And just remember, you want to do your drawing in a way that you're going to remember which way this plug was oriented. You know, so if I go to reassemble it and it's like this, obviously we're going to have problems. So I just drew in a way that I myself would understand. So just keep that in mind. So as you can see, I did do a full diagram here, and I've got my little guide. I've got a white wire, yellow wire with a red tracer, black wire, white wire with a red tracer, white wire with a black tracer. Obviously it could be a little confusing since I have two white wires, but these wires are so old they're kind of stuck in position anyway, so yeah, it's gonna obviously come together pretty easily, and it won't be hard to figure out. It'll pretty much place itself when I go to throw it all back together. Now the next step is actually removing the wires themselves, and unfortunately this, well, can't really see it all that well, but if you look inside here, you will see above each of these terminals, you will see a little square gap, a little hole, and that hole is actually where I'm going to place this. And while I do that, I'm going to be pulling on the wire itself. So I'll be applying slight pressure, not a lot, but slight pressure, pulling on the wire, and then I will use this to go into that hole. And what it is you're just pushing down a little tab. It's a little metal tab that is bent upwards, and it kind of clicks in. So you're just pushing that tab down, and that's what locks this terminal in place inside the harness. So you'll feel it. It's you know, you just apply a light pressure, push that tab down, maybe give it a little wiggle or so, and fiddle with it. You know, don't be too rough with it, but it'll come out easily enough. You'll feel it give, and then you can just go on and do it to the next wire until you've got them all pulled out. Now that I've got this all removed and I've got all these pieces out, I am now able to take this, and I will be able to use this, well, clean this properly, and I will also take this plastic piece off and clean that up. More for vanity's sake than anything else, but you know, if you're going to clean it, you might as well do it right, and it might as well look good when you're done. So I am also going to clean these terminals. Now the thing is, I had spoken about this method, which I'm going to try myself actually for the first time, to clean up these ends, and I would imagine it will work. However, I'm not sure how it will interact with the leftover grease that's still on there. So I might need my trusty toothbrush. All things being equal, this will work just as well if you just clean them up with some sort of degreaser or dishwasher fluid, as I've done before. But the thing is that I was very careful when I did that before to dry them off very quickly, because that's the thing with this method. You're at least going to be neutralizing any acidic properties of the water when you're done. You could even give them a little spritz with some WD-40 just to make sure, but basically I'm just trying to prevent any corrosion. However, since I'm going to be covering them up with dielectric grease shortly after cleaning them, I'm really not that worried. However, I suppose if you were taking these apart and you wanted to set them aside, or you wanted to clean them up and you couldn't get back to it right away, maybe you'd want to do something to prevent that, because when you do clean the surface, any of the oxidation off the surface, you're pretty much just opening it up to more oxidation. So it's just got another surface, a nice clean surface to start all over again. Okay, so here's well, not really an after video, but most of the way through. I did use that vinegar and salt solution and the baking soda solution, and I'll be honest, I saw it on a website that showed it as a good way to clean wires, so I figured it would be just as effective on these terminals. Unfortunately, it really wasn't. So what I did end up doing was I used a little bit of a metal brush and the toothbrush and degreaser, and just cleaned it off that way. So I got it as clean as possible, and they weren't that bad anyway. They were mostly just covered in gunk, so I will be putting some new gunk on there. Otherwise, I had decent results. This cleaned up fairly nicely. Obviously, it's still got signs of age, but there's not really anything you can do about that. And I also, since I was doing this with a black harness or a black connector, it's kind of difficult to see the difference. It is a lot nicer, but I figured I would do it on a white one as well, so you can see how decent it looks when it's all cleaned up. I tried to get in there as much as possible. That's where a paper clip or one of these comes in handy as well, to get into those last little get those crevices cleaned out. But like I said before, that's more of a vanity thing than anything else. You know, I'm just trying to get it as clean as possible, and it's just as good, even if it's still a little gunky in there. But anyhow, I will do the next step, putting it back together. But before I do that, I just wanted to point out, or focus in on one particular thing here, that how these work is, you see them nice and flat. Now you've got that little piece right there. Kind of difficult to point out, but you see that little tab there, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take one of these and use that to push that tab back up. Now you want to be careful, because obviously you don't want to break it, but you need to kind of push it back up a little bit, so that when you reinsert this into that connector, it will click and stay in place. So I will just do kind of a before and after picture here, but here you can see it's pretty flat, so it's not really going to catch when I put it in there, but I'll do an after pic. And here's my after pic. So what I did was I just used that little pick tool right there, and kind of came up from underneath it, and just apply light. Wait for it to focus in here. I just applied light pressure in that little gap, and in effect I was able to push that tab back up. This is kind of wonky, obviously close range, but hopefully it's coming through. You'll see what I'm talking about if you do this yourself. So okay, now that I've got it all back together, you'll see it looks a damn sight better than it did. And got all these pieces clicked in there. Nothing's loose. One last thing, I want to make sure that all these are nice and straight, and that looks good. So the final little step here is we're going to use some of this goop right here. Now this is dielectric grease, and as you can see, it protects contacts. It is perfect for stuff like this, and what you're going to do, normally this stuff would be pressurized. The cap came off on mine, and so what I've been forced to do is use a screwdriver or any other implement I can to basically just scoop it out of there. But normally there's like a little pressurized nozzle, and that makes it a lot easier to work with. You're going to put a little bit in here. You don't want a ton of it. It acts as an insulator. It doesn't, well, I don't know, not necessarily an insulator, but it doesn't transmit electricity. And what it will do, though, is it will protect all the contacts. So you still need the metal against metal contact when you plug this in, but what it will do is it will surround that contact and prevent corrosion or wetness or anything getting to it. So aside from having it inside the harness itself, what I also like to do, and I see that they do it at the factory, it seems, is I also put some in the back here and just try to fill in any of the little holes where the wires go through. It takes a little longer, but I think it's worth the effort. It's just that little bit of extra peace of mind. And plus, when you have it all ready and it's all back together, then you've got what will not only work like, but will also look like basically a brand new harness or a brand new connector. So best of both worlds. The thing is too, I will say this about this whole process and this whole video is, you know, you can save time. There is instead of having to strip everything out and do all this by hand like I've just gone through, you can, at this auto parts store, probably the same place you'd find this kind of stuff, probably right next to it on the shelf too, depending on where you go, is you will find cleaner that's built specifically for these kind of connectors, and it's like a non-solvent cleaner, but you can just spray it right on, and it will break up all the gunk and the grease off of there, and it will just kind of dissipate on its own. So it acts like a solvent, you know. You just kind of spray it and forget it. You might want to wipe it up a little bit when you spray it on, because it will loosen up all that gunk. But otherwise, it will save you time. But if you're fussy like me and also pretty cheap, this is just as good a solution, I think. And plus, since you'll have everything apart, you'll really be able to get into all the little creases and the crevices and really get the good detail work done. And that's basically all this video is about, is the details. Oh, and despite my best efforts, my lovely assistant here seems completely unimpressed.